Mr. Owner, I return this property better than you gave it to me. Have you heard that sentence? Did you hear that sentence recently? What was your first thought? Probably not in agreement with that statement. But let's talk for a moment when we think of what is a damage to a property versus wear and tear. Have you thought about that? Have you asked that question? Well, why is that question a challenge? Well, we have a tenant over here that wants as much of their deposit back as possible. And most of the time we have the owner over here who has already spent most of that security deposit in their mind. Do these numbers match? Generally, they do not. So what do we need to look at? Some states have definitions that are very specific. Other states do not. In the state of Florida, we have some guidelines, but it's not always as black and white as we want it to be. And reading the Florida statutes is not always going to give you the answers you're looking for. And reading case studies of judgments that have already happened can be a little scary and no fun. So what do? How can we have the right perspective for the property? What can I look at to make an educated decision that I can be comfortable with? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. So let's think about it for a minute. What would be wear and tear? Have you thought about that? Wear and tear would be something that has worn out over use, over some schedule, from day-to-day use. It's not as good as the day you bought it, and eventually it will wear out to the point that it needs to be replaced. That is how an item wears out. But a damage would be something beyond normal wear and tear. If you hung a small photo with a little picture nail, it stayed on the wall. Nothing's broken, nothing's damaged. Now, if I have an enormously large big screen TV that needs specialty anchors and those anchors cannot come back out of the wall, are you going to have to do some work when you take that TV down? Yeah, a little bit. Now, is that normal wear and tear on a wall? Well, absolutely not. That was a specific application. What about carpet? Maybe you've maintained your carpet very well and you got really long life out of your carpet. But when we look at the life expectancy of carpet, go online, type in your favorite store real quick, go to the flooring department, look at some of those carpets. They actually have a life expectancy on them. Now, in a rental property, how many tenants are in the house? Do they have animals? There are some variables that come up. So is that a black and white number? Not necessarily, but what would be wear and tear? People are going to walk on the carpet. You're going to get some kind of traffic marks on the carpet. Carpet will start to break apart a little bit and it won't be as clean as it once was. That is normal wear. Now, if all of a sudden there's a melted crayon in the center of the room that is not coming out of that carpet, was that normal wear and tear? Absolutely not. There's a difference. What about paint? When's the last time you painted your property? Did you know paint has a life expectancy? Again, users can change that a little bit, but look at the property. What is your normal practice? Do you come in and do a little bit of touch-ups? Well, that would be normal. Now, that TV we mentioned, if you've got to cut off half the wall, redo the sheetrock, make some repairs, that is absolutely beyond normal wear and tear. That's a damage. Do you see the difference? Now, in the state of Florida, we have 30 days from the date the tenant vacates the property to make a claim. The claim is via certified mail. It has specific language that needs to be in there, and you should include a list of what the charges are. Don't send a letter that says you owe me $573 and there's no reason as to why. Include the receipts, because what does Florida say? A damage occurs when the money is spent. So what does that mean? If you didn't spend the money, you didn't incur any damage. Yes, I know they physically did something, but if you didn't spend the money, the state of Florida doesn't see it as a damage. So if you're spending money, you should have a receipt included. Now the tenant sees this as more legitimate. Did you document the property when they moved in and document the property when they moved out? Did you just check a couple of boxes? Or did you take photos? Did you video record the property? Where is your proof beyond the receipt? And the reason I say all of this, so we have 30 days, certified mail, detailed list. We send it to the last known address. That is our responsibility immediately. The tenant has 2 weeks to respond, and at that point, we can release the money. But did you know there's one more detail? It's a big one. What is it? The tenant has 5 years to dispute your claim. So what happens when it's been 4 years and 9 months? You don't even remember the name of the tenant. And guess what you got today? Something from the court. There is a dispute on a security deposit claim. Uh-oh, what do I do? Have you run into this? If you haven't, you probably will. Was everything documented like it should have been? Have you had to fight that fight? My goal is to keep you away from that letter so that we don't have to worry about that. My name is Baron McWright with Northeast Florida Realty. Let's take a moment. Let's talk on the phone. Send me an email. Let's talk about your property. Maybe we can have a better plan in place so that you don't have to worry about getting that letter 4 years down the road and you don't even remember the tenant that was there. Again, my name is Baron McWright with Northeast Florida Realty. I look forward to talking to you very soon.